So for today's video, I have been wanting to make a variation of the Hexi cardigan. I tried working on one previously. I have yet to go back to that because it was making me so annoyed. But I have worked on a couple Hexi-esque projects behind the scenes to kind of gauge doing this project, and so I think I'm finally ready to do it. I don't have a lot of yarn, but this project doesn't require a lot of yarn. I'm going to be trying to match this or some variation of this sort of. I think I found this image on a crochet subreddit. I don't know how to use the internet, so I don't even know if that's correct. But anywho, I think it looks really nice and really cute, and I want to make a variation of it myself. And so I'm using Lion Brand Mandala in Dragon. And then some leftover, I don't even know what this colorway is, but it's the Karen Cloud Cakes. Both are fairly thin. I'd say this one's probably a thin 3, and this one's like just barely a 3, if not a 2. I think I'm gonna use a 4mm hook for this. My plan, in the image I showed you, it looks like she's not wearing anything underneath it. I'm not sure because it's just 2 images I have and that's it. But I think my plan is to use the 4mm hook, see how that looks, see if I can wear nothing under it. I'll likely still wear like one of my sports bras or one of my tank tops or something under it, but I'd like to have the option if I can to just wear it as a shirt. But yeah, I am gonna get started on it, and I will let you know how it's going shortly. I meant to mention as well that I don't have a lot of either of these yarns. I think I have almost a full cake of the mandala, and I think I have half or a quarter cake or like something like that, or a third of a cake of the cloud cakes. Luckily they weigh about the same, and if I remember on the packaging they weigh about the same as well for like the amount you get. So I'm thinking I can just switch every row or every 2 rows to the other color, and that should work out pretty nice. But I'm not sure, and we will find out together. I just wanted to add that because clearly this is another one of my stash busting projects. And yeah, I'm hoping to get through all of both, or enough of both to where I can just store them in my like scraps bin I got going on. We're gonna have a video for that soon too. That's starting to overflow a little bit. But yeah, I will check it again soon. Alright, so I don't think I'm loving how tight the stitches are. Like the stitches themselves feel really tight to me. So I think I'm actually just gonna frog this back and use a 5mm instead. So I got to the same point I was at. I think I like the 5mm hook more. Sorry if my lighting's a little weird. We turned off the other light. But yeah, I'm just going to, no I don't. But yeah, so I'm just going to work on this for a little more tonight and then get to some editing I have to do, or I'll probably do that tomorrow, I don't know. But yeah, that's just where we're ending for at least right now, or until I check in next. So, I meant to check in a little bit sooner, but I forgot to do so. This is where we are at so far on our lovely cardigan crop. Oops. So not very much is done. I think this is 18 or 19 rows. Currently not large enough still, although I do think that the sleeve width is almost done. When it comes to these specific types of sweaters, or if you're making a crop top like me, the problem you're going to run into is that your sleeve width is also going to keep growing with the body width. My solution to that issue is, since I won't need too much length on the sleeve, I'm only going to wait till the sleeve is the proper width, so the largest part of my arm, which I think is 16 inches wrapped around or something like that. Might be less, maybe more, I don't really remember. But I'm going to stop there, so each side of this, folded like this, should be 8 inches long, or wide I mean. And then what I will do is I will start only going through these 2 side panels and this bottom piece. So I'll only technically be doing 2 corners for the rest of it, just to ensure that I'm getting length and width that I need. I don't know if I'll go too much on the length besides a couple rows, just to make sure I have the proper amount of length before I do the ribbing. but the width is really the big part for me. Each piece folded in half like this needs to be 16 to 18 inches wide to ensure that it has the right fit for me. But yeah, so this is still the first panel. I'm beginning to get worried I'm not gonna have enough yarn. Doing a quick like size checking. We have it sitting just under or just over my breast area. So I will need at least like 3 more inches here, 2 to 3 more inches here, because my ribbing I can make pretty wide and that can compensate for any, you know, moving or adjusting. And then here on the arm, I think it might need like another row or 2 and it should be fine. But with that being said, I have this much of the mandala yarn left and this much of the cloud cake left. I am just starting to get nervous that I'm not gonna have enough yarn. If that's the case, then I guess I'll buy more, even though I don't really want to. If that is the case, maybe I will go through my scraps, because I think I have more of at least a mandala. I don't know if it's the same colorway, but I know I have some of this type in my stash bin, and I know I don't have any more of this. So I think my main plan is finish the first panel, weigh it out, see how many grams it weighs, and then I can use that number and then put these 2 yarns on the scale, look at that grammage, and if the grams of the finished piece are more than these guys, then I'll run out. But if they're not, then I guess I can finagle the pattern a little bit, especially since like in some of these areas I switch every 2 rows, but in some of them, like this section where the color is really similar and they fit into each other, it looks like it's 3 rows there of the same one when it really is 2 of one of the other. So if I need to finagle it, I will, but that is kind of where we're at right now. I just wanted to check in because it had been a little bit since I did check in last. And I think I will check in again once I finish this first panel so we can talk about what the plan is from there. Okay, so it's been a minute since I checked in. However, I did finish, at least finished mostly, the first half. So it'll sit like this. It's a little bit long, comes just before my wrist. But once in a more like laxed position, it'll come all the way down to my wrist. I think I'm still gonna do a little bit of a ribbing on the wrist or on the cuff, so it sits a little bit nicer. But as you can tell, I ended up adding some random scraps through here as well. I used mostly those 2 balls of yarn, but I ran out, of course, because I didn't think I'd have enough. So I split it in half before I ran out, and I've started working on the second panel. But I've also just taken various scraps of different colors I happen to have. Like I have some of this 100% wool something that I was going to use for a sweater, and I don't know what ended up happening with the rest of it. I don't know if I used it for something else and I just don't own it anymore or something like that. I also have some other random scraps of yarn that I just happen to have that are thin enough for this project. This project's roughly like a weight 3. So most of the yarn I have is a weight 4, not a weight 3, but I do have some weight 3. I've got some from like another ball of the lion brand left. And then at one point, I don't remember why I did this, but I split a ball of worsted basically in half. So the big twist brand is 4 strands woven or spliced together. So I just did it in half, making it 2 strands instead. And again, I don't remember what originally I was using this project for, and I did this like a year ago or 2 years ago at this point. So whatever I was going to make with it, I just don't know at this point or don't remember. But yeah, so that is where we are at. We finished this panel. I just need to sew up the side and deal with these ends. Originally I was going to sew them. I think I'm just going to cut them. And then for panel number 2, I'm on the last row before I split and do the body portion and stop doing the whole thing. But yeah, that is kind of where we are at for right now. I took a little bit of break on working on this because it was just driving me nuts. I just wasn't enjoying it as much as I wanted to be. But yeah, so I'm back on it now. My goal is to finish it in the next couple days if I can. yeah, that is where we're at. Check in again soon. Great, so I meant to check in before I stitched the panels together, but I did end up stitching them together. Let me show you. I only ended up going up by about 1/4. I wanted to make it so that this can bevel to the sides as needed. And then I have started the cuff for one of the sleeves. I'm also thinking, I'm going to decide this later, but currently I'm thinking of leaving the sleeve open and not seamed up here, but only have it seamed at the cuff. I think that'll look really cute, especially if it does like the drop shoulder thing, so that the fabric can actually like flow and not be super stiff once it's all sewed up. But yeah, that's where we're at currently. I'm gonna hopefully finish both of these cuffs and the waistband and be done. Overall, I think this turned out pretty nice. I think there's 2 major issues. First one, the waistband needs to be quite a bit tighter. I purposely kept it large because I was worried about the stitch I was doing. Every time I've done it previously, it like stitches in quite a bit, but I think I did it correctly finally. So it didn't do that. So I'm gonna tie some elastic through here because I can probably get rid of 30 stitches. And that'll make it sit a little bit nicer. I decreased, I think, 32 in the back on that last row anyway. So maybe if I went through and like decreased like every X stitches, that might have been better. I can always do an extra row later. And then the second issue isn't even really an issue. I only notice it because I saw it and now I can't stop thinking about it. But on the first panel we finished, I ended on the softer cloud cake yarn. I ended on that row when it came to separating for this body paneling, but on this side, the second panel, I ended on the Lion brand yarn, so this green color, which means this side is off by 2 rows, which is a little frustrating, but doesn't seem to affect too much, because really it would only have increased like 4 additional stitches or something like that, or 6 additional stitches in total for the side, and it doesn't seem to really do much or change much shaping wise. But overall, I think this turned out really well. I think it's really cute. I think next time, if I have the option, I am going to try doing it with just a solid colored yarn, or use a full cake of the Lion brand mandala for each side, one for each side. I think that would look really cute that way, maybe. But yeah, I think I could wear this without my crop top underneath, but I wanted to wear it just in case. Luckily there's not too much gapping between the stitches, but also instead of doing granny stitch, I could just do normal stitching. I don't really know what it's called. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know if you think about doing anything like this. I think the sleeve thingy was pretty cool as well. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you make one, and I'll see you guys next week.